Hi, my name is Shaye. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I yap. I hope you're having a nice day. You're welcome to listen, join, etc. Today, I wanted to continue on the solo travel diaries, but talk about the art of pivoting, which is one of those things that if you've traveled frequently, you learn you have to master. Before we go into it, clearly I'm traveling, so there's going to be more background noise than usual. I'll try to minimize it, but I can't control it. You could hear you could hear outside noise, you'll probably hear inside noise. That's okay. That's life. Life still happens. So the art of pivoting, and specifically on this trip, I mentioned on previous videos that when I travel, I try to minimize the amount of decisions I have to make to overwhelm myself. So I just focus on the basics. My flight, where I'm staying, briefly research the safety in the area, and go, which is what I did on this trip. However, this is one of those trips that I was reminded that doesn't always work. you know, I had picked a place. I hadn't done too deep a research into it. I looked at the pictures. It wasn't a credible site. Actually, I had a friend refer it to me, and I had picked it, and I was looking forward to it because the pictures looked amazing. It didn't have a ton of reviews, which would be, again, I'm not an expert, but if you were asking my advice and you're trying to travel, make sure whatever you're doing, if it's a hotel, if it's a place, if it's an excursion, there is a robust amount of reviews to make you confident in your choice. In my case, I think it had one review, but I love the pictures. And I was like, it's a credible site. I mean, it should be fine. The place looked as advertised, as in the actual unit that I rented. However, when I walked in, I immediately realized, holy crap, this is a construction site. As in, outside, there's a ton of construction. Inside, right above me, because it was a condo unit, there is a ton of construction, so much so I can hear hammering, nail, saw, drill above my head, which of course I can't sleep there. So immediately you go, what am I going to do? I'm in a foreign land. They don't speak my native tongue. I prepaid for this. I don't have nowhere to stay. What am I going to do? And the art of pivoting happens. And in my case, of course, I made the complaint to the people I reserved the thing with. I took videos, which is another thing. If you walk into something and it's not up to the standard or it's not as advertised, take your pictures, take your videos. I recorded a video of everything, of me in the unit as it was occurring. Don't stay there. That's another thing I learned. If you stay there, especially if you sleep there overnight, what you're signaling to whoever you made that reservation with, whether it be a company or a person, is it's not that bad if you can sleep there. you know, if you can spend the night, you're probably not going to get your money back. So in my case, I knew immediately I couldn't stay there. I couldn't afford to signal it's that bearable. But I took my pictures, I took my videos, I sent it on, I filed a complaint, I left. And I made it clear to everybody that I left. Thankfully, I got my money back, literally in less than 24 hours after I sent the video off. But then I was left in a position where it's like, yeah, I got my money back, but I don't have nowhere to stay. and like I said, I got all my bags and baggages, and I'm in a foreign land, and I didn't plan for this. Um, Eventually, I drove around. Thankfully, in this case, I was able to find a hotel. It's actually fairly new, so they were looking for people to stay, and I was able to negotiate a decent rate and find somewhere to stay. But I'm thankful that worked out. But like I said, what I've learned being, I'll call myself an intermediate solo traveler, is you just have to be open to the fact that most times things will work out. I think if you have a positive demeanor, And the more you do it and the more you learn about yourself, things will work out. But there are those times where you think you have everything planned and then you get there and you're like, crap, I didn't plan for this. And you will feel the feels, right? So I'm not going to be him like, oh, I was just fine. I took my pictures, I took my video, I sent it, and everything was okay. Girl, please. I had a day of just the feels, like a day of like, why did I do this? I should go back home. What was the point? Like nobody sent me. Like, like it's just, you're going to feel that. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, get over it and move on. Feel it, just don't let it ruin the entire trip. Don't let it drag more than a day. I think I allowed myself a day of that. I treated myself to a nice dinner, like allowed myself to just wallow in woe is me. But by the next day, I was like, girl, you paid good money. You traveled far. You gonna get out this bed and enjoy it and get over it because what happened happened, you know? So feel the feels, but pivot. I think the last thing I'll add is budget. The one thing that, I ain't no expert. This is not advice anyone asked me for, so take it if you want, leave it if you don't, it's fine. But keep in mind when you're planning for that trip and you're doing the math and you're like, oh, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go do this, have a contingency in your budget. I recommend about 10% of what you plan, put it on the side. And here's the beauty of having a contingency. If you don't have issues, if your things go as planned, then it's just extra money to shop with. Like you could just, like your last day there, just ball out, if you want to, if you don't want to take the money back with you. But I say at least 10% because in my case where I had an accommodation, I had a certain budget, but I booked that accommodation in advance. And as everyone knows with travel, if you book things in advance, it's cheaper. Versus if you pull up at the property and you say you're looking for somewhere to stay, which is essentially what I had to do, it cost a whole lot more. So immediately my budget just went up day one off of things I couldn't control. So have a contingency. It will make things a bit more bearable in case again you can't plan for everything. So yeah, I didn't want to glamorize, like I love travel. It's one of those things, it's a hobby. I'm still mastering it. There are people who are seasoned veterans at this thing. I run into people every time I go somewhere who will tell you their travel stories and your jaw will be on the ground like, wow, you're a pro, right? And as much as I love it, I don't want to glamorize it that it's all fun and games. There are things that are going to happen, and I can go into more details about all the other, logistics and semantics about travel. But the one skill that I always master every trip I go on and I return is the art of pivoting. You just have to. You can't. It's just if you're so rigid about things playing out exactly as you intended, exactly when you intended, exactly in the place you intended, travel may be stressful for you. It may it may it may just not be the thing, because you can't control the further and further away you are from your comfort zone and your home base. You can't control the factors that will come into play. You just cannot. But that to me is part of the fun. It's part of the, oh, okay, we just do a little spice in there now. What are we gonna do with it? But that's just me, So yeah, that was today's rant. Was about the art of pivoting while you're traveling, being okay with that, and realizing it doesn't always mean a bad thing. Sometimes it yields a better thing. So in my case, why it was more expensive, where I'm staying is much better. It's much nicer. It actually makes more sense for me. But I would have never known it existed because, like I said, this place literally within weeks of me coming just opened. So it wouldn't have been on when I was researching a month ago, it wouldn't have been on the places I would have been looking for. But just so happens it's where I'm staying, and I'm like, it worked out perfectly. So the art of pivoting on trips. All right, that was today's rant. Like I said, background noise is really abound while I'm in transit that I can't I can't control the factors while I'm away. But, you know, that's part of what comes with travel. I gotta go find breakfast. I hope you all are having a nice week. I hope all is going well. And, we'll see what the next one brings. All right. Bye.